totally free.
I'm here.
No food, but free.
Oh, man.
I know. That was the big fail this morning too. Is I didn't bring food. So what is it?
That's, I wasn't expecting it.
That's good.
So, that's.
I'm glad.
Hey, Jay. Hey.
Full of donuts already today.
Really?
I said, well, I'll fix that. You guys just hang on a second.
Went to a meeting at the Coast Guard this morning.
Oh.
They had donuts.
Well, of course they would. God damn it, the government at work.
That's right.
I'm trying to see where I wanna sit. I hate to be in the front row because I fall asleep.
Well, this ain't
Right
quite
in front of
as,
the projector.
Yeah.
it's just quite as bad as church, you know.
As bad as church.
Everybody's sitting in the back row, all jammed
Well, they said there
together.
were still spots in the back row. So.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Mind if I sit next to you, Rusty?
I understand. How did you?
I'm good. Behaving so far. So far.
Today.
Dan, I'm right here. You don't have to pay
Do you have your phone so that you can get my text? Otherwise, it's just a waste of time, isn't it?
Exactly. Probably should have it on if I wanted that.
Okay, I brought the camera.
Oh, thank goodness.
Leave it to the
Wow, I
chairman.
came to the right meeting.
That is one prepared man right there. That's good stuff.
Your wife gave you one instruction, stop and get trick or treats. And you're gonna come home with a half a bag.
If he's lucky.
What are you doing here? I thought you guys were pouring concrete like 15
They
hours
are.
a day.
I quit. See, I see what you are talking about at the fairground,
Yeah.
with that, sewer system there. Otherwise, your track is there.
Yeah, my fish.
Yeah.
I got it.
Don't go topping over backward now.
Yeah, I was afraid I was gonna do that.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
too.
That's not, you know what to do.
Yeah, but got it back here.
Good
Run
project.
on the outside of the.
Correct.
At least
Take a
you
lot
know
of
it's
these
working
things,
stuff.
Take a little bowling on the backside.
You would have witnessed it.
Whenever I topple over on the floor and break my neck reaching for chocolate, it's always working's comp. That's the good stuff right there.
Yeah, I can remember the, oh, the race on that track, but I don't.
Hey, Lynn.
Oh, I remember when we used to race on that track. My brother
Well,
used to
you're gonna
race
taste so
there.
much better from you.
Back in the
Well, when you get
sixties.
that wallet out.
It don't happen too often.
I know.
I'm saving, so I can retire in 3 years.
That's what Kathy's for.
Yeah, she's 65 though, she wants to retire.
Yeah, I wanna retire too,
Do you?
sooner than 3 years. That's why I'm working at the county.
Oh, good luck with that.
If the chairman ain't got it, there's no hope for you.
Well, we're probably on to something there.
Next year's when the bonus is kicking, right?
Yeah, just wait for it, okay? They're coming, just wait.
I heard it's 5% a month next year.
Ooh. Wow.
I got a couple more
Chocolate
minutes.
right there.
I think Bill Wade would have a heart attack if that
You don't want to hear it.
I already got it.
Hey, who's in
I've
charge?
done it.
happened. Yeah, well. Daniels, he's got a gun.
Paul says if I behave myself next month, I might get both.
Hey,
One
Barney.
at a time.
I'm Brian.
You guys are bad.
This is one of my favorites. This is now.
We're still on lunch, we can do the show.
Big
Oh.
now.
Yeah, just looking around, I don't think any of you's answered to too many people.
I'm gonna myself. Probably all gone now. Mm-hmm.
Another couple minutes. I believe in starting on time, but also not before. So I'm looking, if I would have started, then this would have been late. We don't want that. Oh, there's a spot for you right here. Yeah, totally. Just like church. Nope.
There, you don't have to be in the crack.
There's a spot for you right up here if you want it.
One for chocolate.
And chocolate too.
Wow.
Really high right now. Chocolate.
So,
There's 80 pieces, so.
a couple disclaimers. Alright, so I haven't had any caffeine after lunch, and that was on purpose, because I want to be able to speak at a speed that you can follow. And for my first session this morning, I may or may not have used the phrase sharing needles, so I'm just saying anything's possible here, alright? So
I was already told to ask about sharing needles.
good, I'm glad. So my boss should put you up for that?
It was.
That's something good. See, that was in the unscripted Q&A session, so you never know what's gonna happen. That's the fun part. So we're gonna do 75 slides in 30 minutes or less. Last time was 25 minutes. I don't know if I'm gonna go for breaking that landscape record or not. Let's see. We've got 60 seconds left. So this is the time to think about questions and hold your questions to the end, because I'm gonna rip through a bunch of stuff and then I wanna kind of group questions up and answer them. I may even answer your stuff as we go through. So, and I can definitely give you a copy of the slide deck. It has links to all the stuff I'm gonna talk about in it. So you can't take notes, you're welcome to take notes. I won't slap your hand in if you take notes. I might, but we'll see. All right, so it's that time. So we are gonna talk about ransomware and what to do about it, how to protect your computer from ransomware in specific and other bad stuff kind of in general. So first of all, who here knows what ransomware is? All right, Sonia, cool. Who here has had ransomware on their computers, sent money off into the void to get their stuff back? Well, good. Or maybe you're just too embarrassed to say. That's okay. I've sent all sorts of money into the internet and have received some things back. So here we go. Ransomware is an automated cyber attack. So the automated part is important, right? Because this isn't some hacker in Russia being like, ooh, I'm gonna break into Scott Fiber's computer because he has the keys to the kingdom, right? So this is a hacker in Russia or in China or in Kansas saying, I'm gonna scan the internet, millions of computers an hour, for easy things that I can just set up the system and it just breaks in for me and it puts the stuff on computers for me. It's a low risk, high reward scenario, right? Because these people are performing their attacks from jurisdictions where we don't have extradition treaties, like Georgia, not the state, but the country. We don't extradite people from Georgia and prosecute them for cybercrimes. And the reward part is if I can scan 10 million computers in a day and I find that 30% of those computers have vulnerabilities and I can affect them, and of those 30%, 1% of people click and send me money, I'm making tens of thousands of dollars a day for having a program running in the background of my computer while I'm doing whatever. That's pretty good risk return ratio, which is why people are doing that. So what ransomware actually does is it locks your computer's hard drive. It locks all your data up, it encrypts it so that you can't use it. Nobody can use it. Encryption is, it uses the power of math to lock your computer in such a way that it's going to be mathematically, I hesitate to say impossible, I'm going to say improbable. The FBI 6 months ago could not break the encryption on an iPhone, right? So the encryption that people are using in ransomware is orders of magnitude stronger than what's on the iPhone. So I'm pretty sure that the NSA isn't going to be able to break this encryption. Certainly Geek Squad, certainly the Bayfield County IT department is not going to be able to undo this encryption. So this is kind of a serious, heavy-duty sort of thing. And to get the key, you have to send money out into the internet. You make an anonymous payment, right? So It's via Bitcoin, which is a digital currency, and it's a totally legitimate thing. You know, it's just like dollars or pesos or rubles or yen. You know, it's just another currency. The thing about Bitcoin, though, is that the transaction can't be traced. It's a cash transaction, sort of, where you never see or know the other person. Basically, you get an email link saying, here's my address, which is just, you know, gobbledygook, a long string of numbers and letters, and, you know, send your Bitcoins to that address. And you send it to that address and hope for the best, hope that the person unlocks your computer. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, and you always are out the money. You know, and so right now the price to unlock the computer from ransomware is 1 Bitcoin. Doesn't sound like a lot until you start looking at Bitcoin exchanges. Today they go for $690 a crack. You know, so that's a chunk. And what we're talking about when we're talking about your data, so we're talking about your home computers here, right? Not your work computers. This is for your home computers. And so the thing that we're protecting, the thing that we're recovering, the thing that we're trying to not have to recover, right, is things like your family photos. You know, I've got photos of my kids, my family, going back to the week after my first kid was born. And I have that first week, so I lost those because I didn't follow AJ's rules, because I didn't know AJ's rules at that time. But going back to, you know, the end of that first week, I got photos. I've got tens of thousands of photos, because I'm one of those people who just hammers the shutter button, right? So those are the things that I'm thinking about protecting. I'm thinking about protecting the files for my small business that they do nights and weekends. I'm thinking about protecting, you know, my barely started novel that I'm maybe someday will actually get around to writing. I'm thinking about protecting all the ideas I've had that I've recorded, all those digital assets that are in my world, are those things that I want to protect. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to talk about that. So I want to take just a minute to talk about encryption and how that works, right? So think of it as math power. Like someone's superpower is math, and so that's how I figured out encryption. You take your data, let's say that hi, the word hi here, represents all of my family photos, you know, all like 30,000 of them or whatever. When I encrypt this little bit of text, what I get is that, right? Which is totally unusable to me. But it's reversible back to that if I have the key, that encryption key. But this process, this math process, is a one-way process, right? So you can encrypt things very easily and very quickly. And the way that encryption actually works is it's not just like one pass, it's hundreds of passes over the stuff doing these math operations. But to break it, you have to have the key to get from that back to the actual usable data, right? So that's what happens to your whole hard drive, is it turns into that. And your operating system doesn't work, you can't go to a website, you can't send emails, you can't Skype for help, you know, you can't do any of that stuff. You're just kind of dead in the water at that point. So the next step here is I'm gonna go through kind of the table of contents of what we're gonna do, right? There are 4 things that we're gonna do. And I'm gonna do the table of contents, and then we're gonna get into how you actually do this stuff a little more. So first, please, dear God, don't click on the thing. I don't know how many of you guys are up on your internet memes, Juanita Weasel. This is a good one to know, very useful. Don't click on the thing, right? If you're not sure, don't click. Make sure that you have verified backups, and you want to patch and update all of the stuff that's on your computer in terms of operating system, programs, and all that everything. And finally, you want to have good antivirus, anti-malware solution software on your computer, right? So here's how you do it. First, don't click the thing. You gotta slow down, right? You gotta relax. You gotta not jump the gun. You gotta hover over the link, right? So what's going to happen when you hover over the link is you're going to have a chance to read it. You're going to be able to say, okay, I hover over this link, and this is what comes up on the bottom, right? And you can see where that link is going to take you. Down here it says darkreading.com/vulnerabilities -- threats. You know, it sounds scary until you realize, hey, the website that I took that screen cap from was called darkreading.com, bringing cybersecurity field together, right? So this is a good link because it's staying inside the website. It's a site that I know that I went to on purpose. right? This is a site, this is a screen cap that somebody sent me just this morning. So one of the things that I really like doing here is you guys all occasionally will send me emails or links and be like, hey, is this thing legit? I need a second pair of eyes, right? And this is a great example of something that's really designed to sucker you in. This is just a perfect fishing website. So what does this look like? Anybody?
The Dropbox login.
Yeah, right? So this totally looks like Dropbox. And can anybody tell me what it actually is? Here, I'll help you. MyCouponMailer.net, right? Looks like Dropbox, tastes like fish, right? So what's going on here is someone just harvested all the Dropbox design, all their pictures and stuff, just did a save web page as, right? And put that up on a different website, and then started broadcasting that out and fishing, trying to get people to put in their sign-in credentials. Come on, go back one more. Put in their sign-in credentials, and what do you think would happen if you put in your sign-in credentials and click sign in? You know, somebody in Georgia or China or Kansas is gonna have your Dropbox account credentials. They're gonna infect your computer with something. You know, it's not gonna be good. You're gonna start having pop-ups, or maybe your computer's gonna become part of a botnet that's gonna be used in the next great DDoS attack, just like we had the other day. You know, all sorts of interesting things, but they're not gonna be good interesting, they're gonna be bad interesting, right? So this is what you see when you hover, when you stop to read the URLs. And it just takes a minute, just a little bit. And then there's another thought that kind of goes along with the reading, which is typing, right? So if you get an email that says, oh, your Dropbox account's gonna expire and you need to blah, 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 you know, instead of clicking the link that comes in the email, just open a browser window and type in Dropbox.com and log in. And that way you know where you're going. You're asking to go to the place that you wanna go to. And then you can go and do whatever you need to do. And maybe it'll be a legitimate thing, and maybe it won't be a legitimate thing. But if you type in the URL of where you want to go instead of just tapping that link, you're going to be safer in the long run. And really, when you think about how much time it takes to type versus how much time it takes to be like, AJ, my whole world is encrypted, and no, I don't have backups, and okay, we're going to rebuild my computer from scratch, and everything that I had on my computer is gone, right? A couple of seconds to type is a good deal. That's a good use of time. So when you're looking at these URLs, the thing to ask is, does it seem legit, right? Does it feel a little smarmy? Does it raise the hair on the back of your neck, or does it feel okay? You know, ask yourself, is it gonna do bad things to your computer? Is it, you know, how does it feel? Is it just like, do you hesitate? That's your sign right there. And if in doubt, don't click the thing. And this is just my gratuitous Leonardo DiCaprio, good job not clicking, right there. So that's the first thing, don't click, right? Second thing is have really good backups. Who here backs up their computer? Who here has backed up in the last month? All right, 3 of us. Who here has backed up their data the last 6 months? All right, some of the same people. Who here has backed up ever that they know of? Who here has tested any of their backups? All right, so I'm glad that you all are here. This is good, right? Because you have to back up and you have to test. These are the 2 keys here. So backups are boring. And they're kind of boring by design, right? Because a backup is a process that is designed to be replicated over and over. You do the same thing, and all it does is take this data and put it over here and lock the door. Take this data, put it over here, and lock the door. That's all we're doing with backups, right? And that's not fun, it's not interesting, it's really, really critical. Because backups are what we're gonna come to when our house burns down, or we have an F-28 tornado, or we have a cyber attack that locks our stuff, right? We're gonna rely on those backups to get our data back. So there are 2 scenarios that we back up for. There's the whoops and the OSH, right? So whoops are for little problems. They're like, oh, I accidentally deleted a file. I overwrote something. I made a little mistake. It was sad Pikachu because whoops, all right? So whoops backups need to be fast and they need to be local. So like a USB drive plugged into your computer is great for fast and local, and they need to be easy, right? So it's something that we want to just have run, and it just works. We don't have to think about it. OSH backups, on the other hand, are for big deal problems, capital D problems. You know, so we're talking devastation of your house, God forbid, or you know, your city, or your digital landscape. You know, this is an OSH moment for Pikachu. And OSH backups need to be remote, they need to be protected, they need to be robust, and they can be a little more difficult, a little more finicky to set up, but they don't have to be, right? So what we're gonna use, what I'm gonna suggest you use is CrashPlan and an external drive, right? So CrashPlan is a subscription service. The company's out of St. Paul. They've been doing this sort of online backup for 10 or 15 years. So they know what they're doing. Your data's encrypted out there. It's encrypted in transit to CrashPlan and encrypted on CrashPlan servers. And what the CrashPlan software does is it makes 2 copies of your data. It puts 1 copy on your USB drive that's plugged into your computer, another copy out on CrashPlan server. So then you set it up and it runs in the background, and every change you make is backed up both places. You make a mistake, you go to your local backup, and you just restore it. You have a big deal problem, and you go to backup servers and you pull stuff down and you restore that. So this is what it looks like. This is the web interface. You know, it's nice and easy. It shows you when the last backup activity happened, how much data you have backed up, if things are okay. You know, this is kind of my perfect dashboard, because what I've shown it, what I've told it to do for me is say, hey, if everything's okay, I don't want to hear from you. Only email me, only contact me if there's a problem. So CrashPlan just sits on my computer and just hums, and it's fantastic. I really like that. There is one caveat using CrashPlan or Carbonite or another online backup program like that, and that is when you're restoring a lot of data that's constrained by your bandwidth. So like in my house, my bandwidth is eensy beensy, right? And so if I have to restore the 600 gigs of data that I have backed up, it's gonna take forever, which is better than never, right? But it's still gonna be a really long time. If I just have to do like 1 file or 5 files or something like that, no problem. But if I have to do all that data, it's gonna be a while. Or I'm gonna take my computer that I'm rebuilding somewhere where there's faster internet and use that. With backups, remember I said that you gotta test your restores, right? Because you can back up data all day, all week, all month, all year, and 3 years down the road, something bad happens, and you're like, oh, I've got backups, yay! And you go to your backups, and you're like, I don't have backups, boo. Because you can't restore things, or you back up the wrong stuff, or whatever it is. So you gotta test, right? And so to do that, you pick a couple files from different parts of your logical structure that you backed up. So for me, you know, I'm one of those people who's like, folder thing, right? So I pick a thing from over there, and a thing from over here, and a thing from over there, and a thing from over there, and I do like 4 of those backups. And just like once a month, I'm like, yeah, let's see what I can restore. And I pull those things in, and if they work, you know, if I open them up and I have this spreadsheet and this image and this video, and they all work, then I'm like, good, everything's working. No problem. It takes like 5 minutes. And it's critical because you never know when that's going to happen, right? And so you want to test your stuff before you get to that point. All right, so that's, don't click on a thing and have serious backups going on, are the 2 things that you really got to have in place to deal directly with ransomware, right? These next 2 things, the updating and the antivirus, are like, this is how we're gonna make it harder for ransomware to come onto your computer. So updating is really important, right? Because you want your computer to have nice granite countertops and recessed lighting and the better floors, and you want it to work well and you want it to be safe. So one of the things that happens when I'm a hacker in Georgia and I'm scanning the internet, tens of millions of computers a day, is I'm looking for specific vulnerabilities that I can access, that I know about, right? And companies that make software, like Microsoft and like every other company that publishes software out there, is also looking for these vulnerabilities, and they put out patches, right? That's why Windows says, hey, there are updates available all the time, you know, and why your other software says, hey, there are updates all the time. Those updates are actually fixing security vulnerabilities for the most part. And if you keep your stuff updated, it makes your computer a whole lot more impervious to attack. In fact, most of the attacks are out there, like 97% of the attacks that occurred in the corporate world last year, according to one study I read recently. 97% of those attacks were against vulnerabilities that are 6 months old or older, right? So if all those companies had just set Windows updates to automatic, I'm not saying that there wouldn't have been attacked. I'm saying that it would have been harder for attackers to get in, and that's what you guys can do at home too. So to do that, you just open up Windows Update. You can search for that in your start menu, and just turn on automatic updates. That's a really easy, simple thing that you can do to make your computer more secure. And then you do the same thing for all the non-Windows stuff, right? So each of our computers has a bunch of software installed. Mine probably more than all of yours combined, except maybe for Germany, because that's how I roll. I install a lot of stuff. So I get a third-party updater that just takes care of it. And I'm like, yeah, update everything, 9 things, just update it all, take care of it, boom, done. And this I have scheduled on my computer, so I don't have to worry about doing updates. It all just happens. So if I don't do it, someone here, Ben, remind me to talk about the Volkswagen versus Camry in a little while.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
That's your job.
Okay.
No other job. That's it for today. So for the software that isn't Windows, that isn't covered in the third-party updater, you just got to do it yourself, right? So it's like spend 5 minutes, say 5 minutes a month. You just sit down with your computer, be like, computer, this is our quiet time together. It's just you and me, computer, and just go help update in each one of your programs. So that's where that update thing lives. That's kind of become the place to go on all programs. So just open the program, open your games, and be like, help update. Open your high-end GIS stuff that you screw around with 3 a.m. in the morning then, when you can't sleep, and help update. Just once a month. It'll just be a little personal quality time that you spend with your computer, and it'll keep everything doing well. And Beyonce can do it. We can do it too. Right? I know how much of a fan you are of Beyonce, so I put that one in for you, Dan. I got your back. That's good. So we've got not clicking. We've got our backups running. We've got updates happening, right? We've got malware, or anti-malware next. So I'm talking about anti-malware, I'm talking about antivirus, and I'm talking about actual anti-malware software. These are 2 different things. So antivirus is a little bit older, and it's really not that great for dealing with current internet attacks, current cyber attacks right now, because cyber attacks are really sophisticated, and antivirus software relies on technology that they can't keep up, frankly. But it's critical that we have it on our computers, because all the old stuff that's out there that we have definitions for, that we know that we can block, is still out there. Just because the blaster worm is 20 years old doesn't mean it's gone away. It's still out there. It's still pinging, still scanning, still trying to infect, and we have to block that stuff. So that's what antivirus does. And we put anti-malware on our computer to deal with the more modern attacks that are coming in too. So it's kind of a both-and approach. And they need to automatically update, and they need to automatically scan, and they need to automatically remove. So you kind of see a theme going on here, right? Of like, let's set the stuff up so it's just magically happening in the background. We don't have to think about it, because easy is good, right? So I don't want you to go crazy. I don't want you to be like, well, if one antivirus product is good, 3 is better, right? Because what's going to happen is they're going to start fighting. It's going to be like WWE in your computer, and at the end of the night, all that's going to be left are some vented chairs and just sweaty canvas, and you're not going to be able to do anything else. It's just your computer's going to come to a standstill, because you're going to have Mac, if you say, oh, Norton's bad, Norton's going to be like, oh, AVG is terrible, and AVG's going to be like, oh, the heck with both of you, I'm taking you on, and your computer is, trust me, not good, right? So what you want is one antivirus, one anti-malware, and these are the ones to use. And this is purely AJ's recommendation, based on my 65 years of experience doing cybersecurity work. And so Sophos Home is free. and awesome. And it kind of straddles the line between antivirus and anti-malware, right? So it does some of each, which is one of the reasons I really like it. It has a web console that makes it really easy to manage. This is my kid's computer. You'll notice, if you look here, there are no alerts. Yay! Even though he's like, the very first thing he does every day when he comes home from school is how to rule the world with Minecraft, open all the tabs and stream all the YouTube and do all the everything, click, 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 you know. And so far, Sophos is doing all right by him, which is awesome. You know, it's really good stuff. And it's free for up to 10 computers, and all 10 computers will show up here. So if you have kids, or you have a significant other, or you have parents or grandparents, you know, hook them up to 10 machines, and they all come back here, and you can be like, oh, Grandma, really? Again? Remove, that's fine. Okay, Grandma, I got you back. Yep. So, Sophos Home is a good one. Oh, by the way, if you want links to these, go back one more. One more. The underlying green stuff, those are the links. Just click those, and it takes you to the download page for them. Malwarebytes is a freemium product, right? So they've got a free version, and they've got their premium version, which is like a $50 hunk of software. The difference is that the premium version does all the automated, scheduled, automatic stuff. The free version, you have to update and run manually, right? So that's what you get for your $50, is you get some convenience. This is what it looks like when it runs. Basically, the way that I, as a very sophisticated cybersecurity professional, use this is update it, run it, and remove whatever it finds, right? So do the same thing. That's good stuff. And if you have something weird happening on your home computer, Malwarebytes is a great place to start in terms of removing it. This is what we do here at the county. If Jeremy calls me up and is like, AJ, I've got something going on with my computer, I don't know what, I'm like, all right, I'm right there. And Malwarebytes, and update it, and run it, and whatever it finds, you take it off. And 95% of the time, that does the trick. So this is the moment that Dan has really been waiting for. He came just for the free food. I don't have the free food, I have free software, all right? So, and I love this animation. I spent a lot of time with that animation. That is, can I get a little hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That makes me feel good. So, I run a little business on the side doing computer work, and I called up Malwarebytes. I was like, hey, I'm doing this presentation, I'm talking to my people. Can I get some copies? And they're like, yeah, we can give you copies. So I have now, I think, 18 copies left of this. So that's enough for almost all of you in this room. But you got to do something for me, right? You got to email me and say, I'd like a copy of this, and you have to promise to put it on your computer and use it. So this is the premium version. This is the $50 version. It's free for you for a year, and after that, I'm sure Malwarebytes is like, oh, we've got them hooked, and they're going to buy it again and become a customer. And totally up to you, whatever you want to do after that point. But this is a golden moment in the history of Bayfield County right here. This is the first ever, no, I'm sorry, second ever software giveaway that the IT department has done. So install it, set it to automatic, remove everything that your AV finds, right, and you're good to go. So that was 75 PowerPoint slides in 21 minutes. So, oh, Ben's reminding me to talk about the Volkswagen. Thank you, appreciate that.
Is there needles involved?
Not yet,
Okay.
that's later. So the Volkswagen thing, right? So I have driven a Volkswagen TDI Golf, 3 things. They're all the same car, by the way, for the last several years. It's been awesome. It was really awesome to start with, and the awesomeness factor has decreased over time because it keeps breaking, and I keep having to find someone who can work on a German diesel car that I can afford, who lives within 300 miles, that sort of thing. And my enjoyment of that process and my willingness to go through that process has decreased dramatically over time, to the point where a few months ago I bought a Camry, right? So I'm like from the two opposite ends of the spectrum, from the semi-quasi high performance niche vehicle to like the thing that everybody drives that just works. Because what I want is that it just works. I want to go out to my car in the morning, I want to put the key in and turn it on and just go places. I don't want to have to think about, oh, the fuel additives, oh, the special oil, oh, look, there's special antifreeze too, and it's only like $65 for a quart. What a deal. You know, I don't want to think about OEM parts. I don't want to think about tuning. I don't want to think about having to drive to Madison to get my car work done, right? I want to put the key in and go. And that's what I'm trying to do here for you guys, is build a system that you just put it together. You know, you do that work up front, and then you just put the key in and do your thing, and life is good. So that's this, hopefully. You know, that's what I'm trying to get to. All right, so this is the end of my official malware presentation. You're all free to flee at any moment now. So feel free to go, or you can stay for my password grant, because my password grant is kind of fun. I'm just gonna say it. So I'm gonna count to 5. There you go. All right, now you're all locked in again. So passwords, right? Everybody's favorite thing. We gotta have strong passwords, and we gotta have unique passwords. And this is a challenge, because longer password is stronger password. It's just mathematically how it is. To have a strong password, it's gotta be longish. And by longish, I mean like 20 characters is a good start. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of passwords in my world. I have, at last count, like 1,800 passwords. And they're all, except for my bank passwords, they're all longer than 20 characters. They're all totally random. They're all totally unique. And I remember every single one of them. And one of those statements is a lie. I'll let you guess which one. My bank passwords, unfortunately, the banks that I use are like, oh my, that 20-digit password is too long for our system. Please choose a shorter password. Like, come on! You know, but thanks, whatever. What I do is I remember one password, and I remember the password to my LastPass account, right? And that password gets me into LastPass, which remembers all 1,800 of my other passwords, and LastPass auto-fills passwords for me in my web browser, in Firefox, and Chrome, and IE, and occasionally when I'm feeling sadistic, Opera. And that's an inside joke, and none of you laugh, so none of you have the geek cred that I have, ha ha. And it also works on my Android phone, and it works on my iPad, and it works on my friends' iPhones. You know, so it's this cross-platform thing. And it's free to use in web browsers alone, and if you want it to work through your whole ecosystem on your mobile devices too, it's $10 a year. And so when I saw that, I was like, you know, after I tried it, I was like, yeah, take my money. Here's $10 a year. I pay $10 a month for this thing, because when I pull up a website on my browser, my phone, whatever, LastPass is like, hey, do you want me to type in your stuff? I'm like, uh-huh. And I hit the auto-magical button, and it goes, you know, and then I'm in. And I'm using 30-digit passwords. They're all sorts of random and crazy and awesome. So the only Achilles heel here is, well, what happens if you lose your LastPass account? What happens if it gets hacked? Or what happens if LastPass goes away, or you don't have internet access? Then why would you be logging into the website? Okay, so never mind about that last one. So the deal there is you do the reset dance, right? So you're at a website and you can't get in because LastPass went away, so then you're like, all right, just reset my username and password and send it to me in email. All right, so I was thinking about the pain and suffering of having to do that, you know, of having to reset 1,800 passwords potentially over time, because I don't use all 1,800 every day, you know, I don't have that much time. But there's that on one hand versus all the time and pain and suffering that this prevents and all the security that it enables, right? Because if my password gets hacked because of someone's server gets hacked, my password is exposed, which it has been, by the way, even my stuff has, all of your stuff has been, then my password is still safe, and that account is still probably safe. But even if that password gets cracked and that account of mine gets compromised, because I'm using unique passwords for each account, because I can, because I don't have to remember any of them, then suddenly that prevents the spread of that hacker going through all my accounts. If I use AJ is awesome as my password for all my accounts, right? So I log into some random online game, you know, today on Tuesday, and Tuesday afternoon, the online game gets attacked because hackers say, oh, that game has weak security. And they harvest usernames and passwords, and they start going to places like, you know, social media. They get my Facebook account, or they get my Gmail account, or they get these big accounts that we use for authentication and we use for communication. Suddenly they have the keys to my kingdom, right? But each one of those accounts has different passwords, and each one of them is a real ginormous pain to crack mathematically. you know, the hackers aren't gonna spend that much time because it costs money to crack passwords. It costs time and effort. They're just not gonna spend it. So that's pretty much my password rant. This is a shorter rant this time. It's good. So now questions. We've got 27 minutes for questions. I expect you to use all of those seconds to ask me deeply technical and interesting things. Oh, come on. All right, so maybe not such deeply technical and interesting things. Steve, I saw your hand go up a little while ago.
Well, I was just asking about Norton Online Backup. Is that a reasonably okay product? Because that's what I use.
Sure. I've never used Norton before, so I can't talk to the actual product. I can say that Norton is, you know, a product of Symantec, which is a big company, and I'm sure that they stand behind their product, and if it works for you and you've done test restores and it feels good and you're happy with that, absolutely. Yeah, use that thing. Yeah, Perry.
If you, for ransomware, if you've got your backup connected, is it true that you can go right into your backup?
Yeah, so what ransomware is going to do, the way it spreads, is it's going to spread anything that's attached to your computer. All right? So when we've had ransomware at the county, it's when we've gotten it, it's infected the computer of the user who clicked on something. It's infected their U drive and their K drive and the common drive. Right? So those are all the places that computer is connected to. So think about that from your home computer's perspective. If you have a USB drive plugged in, that's connected to the computer, it's going to get encrypted too. That's when that online backup is going to come in handy because that's not a persistent connection. So that's not something that ransomware is going to be able to encrypt. And that's where you'll pull those files back down from.
Speaking of backup, how do you feel about the cloud personally?
I love the cloud personally. I think the cloud is awesome and I use it every single day. In fact, this presentation lives in the cloud. This lives in my Dropbox account. And the reason that I love the cloud is because I can take this presentation on my phone and show it to whomever, wherever I have internet connection. I can get all my files, I can get all the pictures I took of my kid last week or last year, and I don't have to have those actually physically on the device with me ever. So
You feel
I love
it's
the
safe,
cloud.
yeah.
It's as safe as anything else. It's safer than driving. I drive all the time, so, you know, it's at least as safe as online banking, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do have a question.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you change your antivirus, they want you to remove your old one and then
Yep.
put your new one on.
Mhm.
How do you know all the files that go with it? Because there's not just the one, it's like there's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
How do you know you're deleting the right one?
So there are two ways to remove a program, really any program from your Windows computer. The best way to do it is if the program has an uninstaller program with it. So a lot of antiviruses, when you install them, you look in the program file, there'll be an uninstaller program, and that'll go through and take out everything off the computer. So that's your best option. Your second best option is to use add remove programs in Windows and uninstall the program that way. Because Windows knows most of those hooks and most of those files and will uninstall those as well. So you may have to do, antivirus is a tricky one to remove
Right.
because there's lots of little hooks, and antivirus is also designed to protect itself, to keep itself from being removed by malicious programs, right? So there can be a little bit of a dance to uninstalling antivirus. Yeah.
Would the other program detect those files?
Yeah, so when you put a new antivirus program on your computer, one of the first things they'll do is they'll scan your computer and be like, oh, we detected this other antivirus program. Do you want us to automatically remove it? And I always say yes. I've never once had it actually work. So usually what I wind up doing is I look for the uninstaller, and I run that, and then I use add remove programs, and I try running that, and then I do it in safe mode because it didn't work the regular way. And I go and I find a cleanup utility and run that. And then I do like a little rain dance and find holy water and get some snakes and use those. And then usually by that point it's maybe worked. So that can be frustrating. This computer has remnants of 3 different AV programs on it, 2 of which I once wanted and now can't remove, and one that I sort of don't want, but I gotta use. So,
So if like one of the hooks you said are still on there, is it okay to run that other?
yeah, probably. You'll know if it's not okay, because what'll happen, the symptoms that you'll see is just your computer will get really slow. And if you look in Task Manager, you'll see a lot of CPU and memory usage. You know, maybe you'll hear the fan spool up or something like that. But, you know, you can go ahead and install the new thing and see how it works. If your computer seems like it's working well after that, I wouldn't worry about it and call it good. All right, what else?
I didn't get the name of that one, thing that you used. It's something like Ninite or something?
Yep, Ninite.
Ninite?
Yep, .com.
And what does that do again?
That's a third-party software updater. So basically what they do is you say, here are the programs that I have on my computer or that I want to have on my computer, and it'll install anything that you don't have on your computer already, and anything that you do have on your computer, it'll update. And they'll do it all from one interface. And the benefits of using Ninite, other than it's easy, are that if you install software with it, it does, it puts it all in the common installation locations, and it doesn't include any of the bloatware that gets packaged with the software sometimes. So like, you know, you'll download a program and you'll install it, and they'll be like, oh, do you want to set Bing as your new favorite search engine? You're like, no, because Bing, right? Did I put enough derision into Bing? Right, we hate Bing. I hate Bing. You're allowed to like Bing if you want, Kathy. That's okay.
I hate
understand.
Bing.
Yeah, so Ninite skips over all that stuff. It doesn't install anything but the program. So that's why to use it. Very.
Do any of these work on the Android phone?
Sophos may have an Android client. I don't believe that Malwarebytes does, though I think they're working on something. Not clicking totally works on the Android phone.
Yeah.
And there are some really solid backup utilities for it. I'm trying to think of the one that I used for a long time. I want to say it's like My Backup Pro, maybe. I don't know. The names for Android apps are so similar and confusing and useless for the most part. I get pretty confused with them. But yeah, you can. So that brings up an interesting point, which I will get to you momentarily. But first, the water. So the point is that all these devices that we have in our pockets and in our hands, all of our mobile devices, are computers, right? They're absolutely computers. My phone has more memory and more processing power and more hard drive capability than the entire computer lab that I had in my college when I went to school, right? It's just more there. And it's more connected to the internet, it's more connected to the world. And so we have to think about that when we're using our phones too. They're totally both a vector of infection and something that can be infected. Both. So. Yes, ma'am.
So on my phone, Bluetooth.
Mhm.
So when you do the Bluetooth to the car and it does all your stuff and your music in your phone, and then you have it turned on, and then you go into a public place,
Mhm.
is that kind of open up your phone to leaving the Bluetooth open where?
It depends. Are you going to stand within 30
Somebody-
feet of AJ? Well,
Cause I
look,
mean, like,
there's
how
my
hard
phone,
is
there's your
that
phone. Is your
to, I know,
Bluetooth
how
on?
hard is that to, mine is not, but like, I know Chris always leaves his
Uh-huh.
on, and I used to, and then I thought, maybe is that a pretty easy way for somebody to hack into your phone then? And if they do, can they see everything on your phone then by hacking in through your Bluetooth if you leave that on?
Yes.
Okay, and
So-
it's obviously not very hard to do that.
So, Bluetooth hacking requires knowledge, just like any hacking does, right? It requires some specialized knowledge, but doesn't require much in the way of hardware. You know, there are some basic impediments to it because sometimes you have to use a pin to connect one Bluetooth device to another. Almost always that pin is either 0000 or 1234, right? So that's like 95% of the pins in the world right there. And I do all the Bluetooth hackers too, right? So yeah, that's an issue because all Bluetooth is at the end of the day is a low power radio connection from your phone seeking out a friend with another low power radio connection on the same wavelength, right? So it's just ping, hug me, ping, okay, you know? That's all it is. It's just like an internet connection, except that it's limited to about 30 feet around you.
So make sure you shut it off when you get out of your car or whatever.
Yeah, I struggle with that too, because it's really nice to leave my Bluetooth on. I just sit down in my car, my phone's in my pocket, and music starts playing from my car, and I start driving it, everything just works, it's magical and beautiful. And that's, when I get out of my car, do I go and turn my Bluetooth off? When I remember, yeah. So we should. One of the things that we can do if we want to get really deep dark into our phone is we can set up things like geofencing and network fencing, so when we walk away from a trusted known Bluetooth source like our car, then the Bluetooth will automatically shut off. But that gets into some interesting hackery with the phone, so it's possible. What else we got? Jeremy?
What about our iPads as board members? The only connection we have with you is iPad. That what you described looked like it's applicable to PCs. Should we be doing anything with our iPads?
So all the data from the county perspective on your iPads is all in Dropbox, and it's all backed up on our network too. So if your iPad gets crushed under the landing strut of a UFO and also melted into slag by landing jets of the same, we just give you a new one, and the data just comes back down via Dropbox. But if you're taking photos of stuff with your iPad and you want those photos to be safe when the UFO invasion starts, then you need to back those up somehow. Probably cable to your computer and iTunes would be my suggestion for doing that.
But what about the ransomware malware that could be headed your way? Should we have those
So
antivirus things
that's
installed
not
on
going to
there?
head our way from your iPads, because your iPads never connect to our core network. So your iPads, when they're here in the building, connect to a segmented network that is only available to other wireless devices. And because your iPad isn't connected to my iPad, there's not that one-to-one pairing. Ransomware isn't going to travel between those two. Until it becomes IP-based ransomware, which is probably like tomorrow, now that I mentioned it. All the bugs in the Bayfield County EOC that go back to Georgia and Lithuania, they go, that's a great idea, we need to do that. But for right now, you're not going to infect our network, because you don't actually have a route to our internal network, because we use network trickery, basically, is what it boils down to give you data without allowing you access. And you're not connected to other devices, so you don't really need to worry about ransomware being able to hop. So short version is, it's probably not going to happen. That would be my thinking about that.
Does all of this stuff apply to a tablet too?
Tablet's a computer. Yep. So don't click, back it up.
Antivirus, anti-malware?
Yeah, so interesting thing. About a month ago, I did a bigger version of this presentation at a conference I was at, and I was doing some research for that. And I was talking specifically about securing Windows workstations, right? Kind of, more or less like this. And the research I did that didn't include today said that last year, there were about 275 million Windows operating systems went out the door on new PCs. But at the same time, like 1.2 billion Android devices got shipped. So hackers go where the infrastructure is. And Android devices are taking over the world. They're eating it huge gobbles at a time. And so we're definitely seeing a corresponding rise in malware and ransomware for mobile devices. So the companies that make the anti-malware and the antivirus are lagging behind in a lot of their capability. This year is the first year where I've really seen these products start existing. I haven't used a lot of them yet, so I don't really have good solid thoughts on like this one's good, this one's bad. I would look at Sophos' stuff. I would keep an eye on Malwarebytes. And as I look into that more, I'll send out stuff, messages that be like, don't use Sophos, whatever.
I have McAfee
Yeah,
on my tablet.
cool. How's it work?
Guess okay,
Have you been infected?
not that I know
Sounds good to me. Yeah. I mean, that's, at the end of the day,
of.
you
It
know.
hasn't done anything weird, so.
Right. You ever get alerts saying, hey, we blocked something? Okay. So I'll bet
I
somewhere
don't
there's a
think
log.
so, there must be something on there.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere there's gonna be a log file that you can
Yeah.
open and look at and have it be like, hey, we've protected you from 6,782 attacks today. You know, or like on one of my friend's computers, you know, I put some stuff on his computer and he's layered so far in his network that I opened his antivirus log the other day. It's like, we protected you from 0 attacks. So I'm like, how is that at all useful and helpful to me? It's like, at least saying we protected you from 2 attacks would be like, all right, so something's getting to you.
Yeah.
You know, but, no. No.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the log.
Yeah, that'd be a good place to start, but you know, at the end of the day, that's my question, is like, can I use my thing? Does it seem really slow because, you know, and is there a correlation, like I put the software on and then my computer got really slow? Or does it all seem pretty useful and usable? And am I infected? No, I'm gonna keep going with it. You know, is it an utter pain to use? Yeah, then I'm gonna change. So. Yeah, that's what I got. Thanks for coming, guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna treasure this.